Hey, the Razorbacks won a game in the SEC in a clutch way. Wow. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. It should be, at least, because Arkansas won. They won a basketball game in the SEC for their very first SEC victory over the Georgia Bulldogs and Bud Walton late last night, by a final score of 68-65. Now, we're going to talk about this game, and we're going to talk about the impact and all of that stuff. And we'll get to all of it. But I was there at the game, and I just want to give, first off, a shout out to so many of you that came up to me and I got to meet that listened to the show and to the podcast. I had to give a shout out to Stephanie, was her name, at the concession stand, because she hooked me up, and I just really appreciate that and appreciate everybody that comes up and says that they enjoy either, whether it's Locked On or Inside Arkansas. It's always just really fun and really great, and really appreciate it. First off, but second off, like what a win, and I say that not in the way of, oh my goodness, this win was just an incredible. Naismith this is what he wanted basketball to look like, because it wasn't that at all. It was disgusting. It was gross. It was dumb. It was weird. It was nasty, but it was a win. And at this point in time, you needed it desperately. You needed it more than anything, and especially in the fact that you were able to come from behind once again. Once again, as in like that happened. I'm saying, you did it again. It's been that long, but you did it again. Arkansas was down by 12 in the half, and going into halftime. It was 38-26. And I was sitting there watching it, and it was just, my hands were on my face most of the time, just shaking my head in disgust. And I remember with how it started in the first half, Arkansas just could not hit anything. These were Arkansas's numbers in the first half. 9 of 27 from the field, 1 of 11 from three-point land, 7 of 9 from the free throw line. Now, 1 of 11, Arkansas started 0 for 10, but they hit 1 3, and that was right before halftime. Right before halftime, Big Z hit it. Huge, because it ended up being a major difference in the game. But that's how it started. Arkansas outscored Georgia by 15 points in the second half. 15. So really turned it on. Was it because of their great offensive prowess? Was it because they just start hitting all their shots? No, it was not. Because in the second half, I read you off those numbers, Arkansas shot 9 of 31 from the field for 29%, as well as 2 of 12 from three-point land, which is 16%. But the biggest factor in this, free throws. Arkansas, in this game, went 29 of 34 from the free throw line. In the second half, went 22 of 25 from the free throw line. That right there is why you won the game. You made your free throws. You couldn't make any shots, but you made your free throws. You did a really good job on rebounding. You out-rebounded Georgia by 10. You had 10 more offensive rebounds in general, which was incredible. Second chance points, 33 second chance points, folks. 33. That's it. Forget the field goal percentage, forget the three-point percentage, because it was trash. But you did those little things that you haven't done very well, or at least not consistently. You did it. You fought. You kept getting after it. You kept going after it and just chipping away. And you found a way to win. A gutsy, grind it out win. It was disgusting the amount of fouls that were called in this game. I hate that brand of basketball. 49 fouls were called. 49 fouls. I'm recording this podcast at midnight because we obviously had to do our post-game show on Inside Arkansas. But it's stupid that the game didn't get over with until 10:38, something like that. So officiating was trash. Both sides of it. I'm not even just saying it was like all Arkansas, but it was a lot towards Arkansas. Arkansas did get some good calls, but just way too many fouls because Georgia shot 29 free throws. They only hit 20 of their free throws, though. So you're talking about a combined 49 fouls, and if I'm doing my math correctly, which is suspect at times, 50 free throws, I believe, what was taken. Yeah. So just rough stuff there as far as aesthetically pleasing or a very good game. But Adou Thiero led the way with 17 points. He was very efficient. He went 5 of 8 from the field overall, and then 7 of 9 from the free throw line. I mean, everyone shot great from free throws, but he had 11 rebounds. So he had a double-double. Had a steal as well, and just did a great job. Just was very efficient there. I'm not saying he was perfect at all times, but very efficient. Also want to give a shout out to Karter Knox. Karter Knox was your second leading scorer at 13 points, like we all would have guessed. But you know what's hilarious about it? He hit one shot. He had 13 points with one field goal because he went 11 of 13 from the free throw line. That's clutch. That's big. That's big. He also had 6 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 steal. Nelly Davis did not have the offensive game that people were hoping for. He goes 3 of 14 from the field, 1 of 10 from 3. Not great. Only had 9 points. But 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. Defensively, did fairly well. And a few other guys. DJ Wagner didn't shoot well either. 3 of 14 from the field. So not his best game. Big Z had 7 points, 2 of 7 from the field. A little bit better there. But I want to continue to give a shout out to Trevin Brazile. People can feel the way that they want to about Trevin Brazile. I'll never understand it. But Trevin Brazile gives it his all. He was clutch in some of those plays of getting rebounds. He hit a 3 in this game, goes 1 of 2. He only shot 3 times, went 2 of 3, but made both of his free throws, got 3 rebounds, just efficient. He had 4 fouls, and the fouls were crap calls anyways, but only played 11 minutes, and it's, you wanted to see more of him because he was getting into foul trouble, but man, when he's in there, he just seems like he's such a better player, and he's exactly what Arkansas needs in a lot of these cases. So I want to give a shout out to him, but you got the win. Arkansas trailed in this game 37 minutes. Barely had the lead. They kept chipping away. I thought the crowd was really good noise and energy-wise. It was the best atmosphere of the year. The crowd wasn't they're never going to put exactly how many people were there. But I would say there's probably 11,000, 12,000, something like that. Not the most. But I don't blame anybody. That's the thing, is people kept bringing it up to me about the crowd. They're like, yeah, nobody's there. What are you going to say? Folks, you got to put it all into perspective. Earlier in the year, when Arkansas still was a good team, or felt like they were a good team and had some hope and all of that, zero excuse for the crowds that you were seeing. And I still stand by that. But anybody that chose not to go to the game last night, I have no qualms with you. I have no problems. I don't blame you. Like, why would you want to take your family and pay all that money and go to an 8 p.m. tip against Georgia and watch a team that's 0-5 in conference play and is about as awful and less lacking entertainment of any basketball team you'll ever watch? I didn't blame anybody for not showing up. So don't misconstrue it. But the ones that did, the energy was there. And you could tell it meant so much just to kind of get that off your back. I saw Kentucky fans, of course, they're just all over the place. They're obsessed. We all know that. But they're like, oh, well, congrats winning your national championship. First off, shut up. Second off, it just felt good to see fans have that feeling of a win. And the players, you could tell, finally, to get a win. Cal, finally, to get a win. It just really made an impact. It really did. It gave fans something to be proud of for a change. And it was also the way you won. Again, it wasn't the most pleasing watch that you'll ever see of basketball. But you were down by 12 points. You were down by, I think, as many as 15, 16 points in the first half. And you stormed back and you won. You didn't give it up. You kept fighting. Nelly Davis, say what you want about him. He's not been good offensively. We know that. But the dude kept fighting. Adou Thiero fought. And that's what I really just wanted to see more than anything. It's just the fight, the pride that you have. And it led to a win. At the end of the day, it led to a win. So I'm happy. No complaints. You know, maybe like a deck chair being blown off the Titanic, doesn't make that big of a difference. But hey, you're winners. No 0-18. Correct. Hooray. Take it when you can get it. So what does this mean for the season going forward? Well, we'll talk about it here in a second. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I got to talk to you about something really legitimate and really true about therapy, because we all have some needs for therapy. Sometimes when you watch a Razorback season, there's a lot of therapy needed in that, but it's a game changer, and it can help manage stress, improve your sleep, and communicate more effectively. But finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be challenging, and that's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace, the virtual leading therapy provider, makes getting the help that you need easy, affordable, and accessible. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You can match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours, and it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your own home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. It's never been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnCollege and enter in promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80, all one word. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnCollege and enter in promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month to show your support for the show. Again, that's Talkspace.com/LockedOnCollege, promo code SPACE80. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. What does this mean? What does this win mean? We're going to play a clip from John Calipari, which I don't know why. This is just a personal side note. I don't know why it is so difficult for the media department there at the university to get a Zoom call fixed. It's just insane. So it's just audio. Like, we have the audio clip of it. Won't be video. It's always something, it seems like. But still, we'll hear from Cal because he had a really good clip. A very vintage John Calipari clip and a lengthy clip, but a good one nonetheless. And we'll play that here in a second. But as far as the impact goes, is this going to change the entire landscape of the Razorback basketball season? No. Is it going to suddenly get Arkansas back into the conversation of being an NCAA tournament team? No. Is it going to make all the other teams in the SEC quiver, saying, oh no, don't let Arkansas get hot? No. But what it is going to do is it is going to provide a potential turnaround, a potential feel-good type of moment, type of spot in the SEC slate to where you finally get some of that confidence back that you had lost. Winning is an addictive feeling. And when you go so long without a win, and you finally get that win, you start to feel like, man, this is a great feeling. I never want to give up. And then you don't feel the pressures of all of it coming down on you. You don't feel the pressures of, oh, geez, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? You just play a little bit more loose. And Arkansas has Oklahoma coming up this Saturday in Bud Walton Arena. I fully expect a great crowd. I fully expect a great crowd, great atmosphere. Think people will be supportive. But does that mean automatically that Arkansas is going to win that game? No. Arkansas could absolutely lose that game again, because this game against Georgia, Arkansas had a lot of reasons to lose the game. I'm not going to apologize for it, but they still didn't play well in a lot of regards, but they won. That's all that matters. So they're capable of playing bad again. And if they play that bad against Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma's not a great team, I'm not going to predict Arkansas to win. but can you at least find something to build on? Can you build upon it? Can you get people excited? Can you get the energy in the building to rally around you? I think it's possible. I really hope you do, because it'll be a lot more fun going into that Kentucky game in Rupp Arena with Arkansas 2-5 in SEC play, and just getting to talk a little trash with those Kentucky fans. Be like, hey, listen, we're 2 in a row. Don't watch out now. Arkansas is going to win that game. It'll be fun to troll a little bit. But still, it's been a crazy thing. It's been a crazy time, and especially for Cal. He's not totally used to this. This is a little bit of a lengthy clip, but there's a lot of good stuff here from Cal. He goes through the season. He makes apologies to fans and to his boss. Just a lot of really intriguing things here from John Calipari. Take a listen.
These guys have fought all year. They have not given up on any game. They just haven't. And they didn't give up on this game. Somebody told me it was the second largest deficit at halftime in this building to win a game. And how old's the building? So it's a pretty good thing. And that's with a team that had lost a bunch of games prior to. So, like I said, my job, look, I got to hold them accountable while picking them up, being positive, hugging them, but holding them accountable. You got a job to do. I just love the spirit of the team, and it's our chance to write our own story, how this thing finishes. And I said, I told my wife, I'm sorry I put you through this stuff. I told Hunter, sorry I'm putting you through this stuff. Told the fans, sorry I'm putting you through this stuff. But you know what? Thinking about it for me, I have been so blessed my whole life. People look at me and say, how in the world? I can't go crazy over a bump in the road. I can't. I've been too blessed. The second thing is, I want this to make me a better coach. I want this to give me some ideas of this is when you win 30 in a row, done a couple times, but it's totally different feel than what we went through. And so this will be, for me, and I told them, if it's going to make me a better coach going through this, it's going to make them better players going through this. But it's hard. You want to win every game. Come on. You know me as a coach and what I've done and what the expectations are the minute I step in. And I said, Coach Buckman came up and had a great talk with me today. Appreciate him. Our staff, I hear from Sam. Guys are calling, keep fighting. So this is a good thing. I'm just happy I'm here. I want to say I'm happy I'm going through this, but I'm really not. But what I am is, let me learn from this and make sure I stay focused on these kids. Make sure, and I call them kids. Some of them are 23 years old. They're still my kids. But make sure that I'm focused on them and getting their mindset right, because they'll be able to look back on this experience 20 years from now, 5 years from now, and be able to take things from it where adversity hits. And you know and I know it hits all of us. It hits us in different ways. How do you deal with it? What does it do to your attitude? Can you stay positive? Can you stay up? Can you stay focused? Can you keep grinding? And like I said, I'm happy we won a game for them, the players. We needed to get off the snide. When Boogie went down, everybody was saying they may not win a game. Well, that was wrong. Now let's see what we can do and where we can go from there. Thanks, folks.
Just vintage stuff from John Calipari. A lot of places that we could start in talking about that, but between the apologies that he gives, it was pretty funny. Saying he's sorry to Hunter, sorry to the fans, and I can appreciate that, especially saying the one to the fans, because I know everybody wants to win, but you know how I felt here recently about how the fans it feels like nobody cares about you. And at least doesn't acknowledge you. And so it was good to at least hear that from Cal. But talking about the staff and talking about other people like Sam Pittman coming up to him and, trying to encourage him and everything, which is great. And then the flexing is hilarious too. Like in the most Cal way ever. I've been the couple of times I've won 30 games in a row. I've done that twice, by the way. It's like, yeah, okay, yep. And it goes in, it's like, when Boogie went down, people thought we wouldn't win a game. Well, they were wrong. So he's making sure to do it in his own Cal version, his own Cal way of, putting the pieces together and making sure everybody knows about it. But again, I'm appreciative of Cal, of him taking it and acknowledging it and acknowledging the situation and doing something with it. Is this going to lead to more wins? Does this mean that you're automatically going to beat Oklahoma on Saturday? No. But it's a matter of when all the chips were down. I think I even did my podcast talking a little bit about this yesterday. But when the chips were down, were you going to have pride? Were you going to fight? Were you going to go out there and still continue to compete? Or were you just going to mail it in, give up on the season, and just be, we don't want to do this anymore? I'm glad that you didn't give up, Hogs. I'm glad the effort was there. It was disgusting sometimes seeing it, but I'm glad it's there. Just imagine if you have that same level of effort and actually putting together and executing good basketball. Imagine what you could be. Imagine what you could be. But also, too, because I know we'll talk a little bit about the SEC. The thing with, actually, you know what? We'll do that on the other side of the break. I'm going to change it up a little bit because this is something I want to rant about. Something that means something to me. We'll talk about Boogie Fland on the other side of the break. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, we know that attending an NFL playoff game is an experience like no other. The energy and the excitement and the connection with other fans is unmatched. I remember the thrill of seeing my favorite team clinch a playoff win live. As a Jets fan, that's been a long time. It's a memory I'll never forget. But this year, Gametime is making it easier to create those unforgettable moments with their new feature, Gametime Picks. It filters out all the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, being there. I used Gametime Picks to grab some tickets for some games here recently, and whether it's a Razorback game or anything like that, it makes it so much more fun, especially when you find a super deal like I did that gave you incredible value for amazing seats. I can even preview the view of my spot before buying. The all-in pricing is a game changer too, no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, knowing that my tickets were backed by the Gametime guarantee gave me a couple pieces of mind, if you would. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I know it says SEC. Forget that noise. You want to know about the SEC? Here's what happened. Florida beat South Carolina by a point, should have lost, and then A&M beat Ole Miss by a point. Probably should have lost too, but big games for the road teams, except for, of course, the Arkansas-Georgia game. That's all that is. But I did want to bring this up about Boogie Fland. I kind of alluded to it a little bit yesterday in the podcast, talking about Boogie and how people really need to be cautious about putting things together and saying, oh, it's another situation of, Nick Smith, which I think is also unfair to Nick Smith, folks. Totally unfair to him. Of anybody trying to say of like, oh, it's just one of those deals, he's going to just book it and leave and not, it's not really an injury. It's not really anything serious. He's just wanting to bail out and all that. And I don't like that, especially in the beginning. Now, if you go a couple of weeks where there's no updates, there's no sign of Boogie or anybody, and you have no idea how serious it is or what's the timetable or anything like that, then maybe you can start to kind of draw some conclusions here. Maybe. But I feel like doing that in the very first point of the breaking news of him being out for the season, of saying, oh, there's some shenanigans going on here, is completely and totally unfair. And so when it was reported yesterday, and it came out with the press release that Boogie Fland had surgery on his hand, it kind of shows a little bit more serious than some of you wanted to make it out to be. And also that he is going to be rehabbing here in Arkansas. And he's going to still be a part of the team here in Arkansas. And after the win last night, one of the things that Adou Thiero said in the press conference was that as soon as they got to the locker room, they called up Boogie Fland, and he got to be a part of the celebration as well as the coach's speech, because obviously he just got out of surgery. All that happened. Now, I could be telling tales out of school here, but when I hear somebody do that as a player, That doesn't give me the vibe of someone who's checked out, someone who doesn't want to be a part of it, someone who just wants to leave and never be seen from again or heard from again from Arkansas or anything like that, and just get ready for the NBA because he has no care about this team. I have a hard time believing that. And so not everybody did this. But the people that did, the people that speculated and tried to stir up stuff about Boogie and about all that is completely, totally unfair. And honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself. I get that you want to have opinions. It's fine. I get that you want to be able to say, hey, maybe this is the case. Because it's one thing to do that. I do that all the time and I always try to be very careful in how I word it, where I'm like, hey, could this be something? Could it be this? Could it be this? What's more likely? What's my gut feeling? I tried to lay it all out as best as I can. But some of you that just came out and was just like, oh, this is another terrible situation. Boogie's he's a loser. He doesn't want to be here. Again, you should be ashamed of yourself. So shout out to Boogie Fland. I'm glad the surgery was successful. I wish you a speedy recovery, man, and can't wait to see you still being a part of the team, still being on the sidelines, and still being a Razorback for this year. You get me? Do the same thing, folks. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.